Hi everybody, Mike Beer here with your Sunday race of the day presented by DRF Bets. The race of the day is out at Del Mar, Grade 3 stakes race for 2-year-olds going 7 furlongs on the main track. The Bob Hope Stakes out at Del Mar. Field of 7 3-year-olds entered for the Bob Hope Stakes. Let's take a look at the field right now. Scan the QR code that you see on your screen there for free access on your mobile devices. Bob Baffert, very little surprise here, well represented. Field of 7. Baffert has 3 of them. He has the 3 morning line favorites, led by the number 2, having a meltdown, 6-5 on the line. A horse who just, comes in with a pretty good resume so far. 2 for 3 in his career, most recent start in the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity, where he was second best. He's 6-5 on the line. Newgate, his stablemate, drawn to the outside post in number 7. Johnny Velasquez in for the ride. Listen, is he a little bit slower than his stablemate having a meltdown? I guess he is. He's another horse who was in that Del Mar Futurity a couple starts back, not quite good enough, dropping out of the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity, going long, cutting back in distance with a little bit of speed. He's going to take blinkers off here. There are things to like about him. The other Baffert, drawn to the rail, is the third choice on the morning line at 3-1, but feels like, with him being 3-1 and Newgate being 5-2, I don't know. I feel like there could be a little bit more separation than that. Hard to Figure is going to have to find a way to take a step forward in this race. We'll see if he can do it. Time for him. U.S. Pace Projector has the 3 Bafferts, as not that surprising. Out there on the early lead. On the early lead is the 2 having a meltdown. He's the favorite. He's a very fast horse. I do expect them to come out of there running and try to make the lead. Newgate is drawn outside, so I guess that gives Johnny V some options. He doesn't seem to be quite as fast early as having a meltdown is. So we'll see, if they just decide to track a little bit, or if they decide to take the race to their stablemate. I'm not sure that they'll do that. Hard to figure. The other horse that's projected to be up close to 3, Lloyd's Logic, I guess could show speed in here. He's won his last 2 starts up at Emerald Downs on the early lead, but it just feels like he's taken a pretty significant step up in class here. He's also cutting back in distance. Hard to Figure, the horse on the rail, the third of the 3 Bafferts, I guess you would say, debuted in the same race as Newgate. Back over the summer here at Del Mar. Showed speed in that race, took on Newgate for as long as he could. He was really no match in that race, wound up tiring to finish 3rd on the day. Newgate was the horse who took all the money in that race, so he was the more fancied of the Bafferts, and it turned out that way on the track. This horse tried to stretch out for a second start. That didn't work out. He got tired after showing speed from post 10 and was well beaten. In his most recent start, he gets the maiden win with an 80 buyer. Certainly a step forward. He was in a restricted stakes race there, the Capote at Los Al. He was better than those horses and got the job done with an 80 buyer, though. It was a step in the right direction. He's going to have to improve again as he breaks from the rail. Having a meltdown, the 2 morning line favorite, way the horse to beat in here. A horse who was an impressive debut winner over this track back at the end of July. Big speed in the debut, turned away a couple of challengers as they came to the stretch, and then ran right through the wire. And I really liked his debut. He came right back in his second start, the Grade 3 Best Pal. Another very convincing win. Had the best speed in that race, just took charge of the pace. Stayed off the rail a little bit as they came into the stretch, and then just powered home. He gave that field no chance to win in there as a very heavy favorite. Another good performance, and then they threw him in against Cave Rock and the Del Mar Futurity, and this horse did not embarrass himself. He tried to show a little speed in there to challenge Cave Rock. He's just not as good as Cave Rock is, and Cave Rock, of course, came back in his next start to win another Grade 1, the American Pharaoh, on the stretch out, and then more recently was second best in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with a 99 buyer speed figure, though. He's a really good horse, a little bit better than having a meltdown, but having a meltdown is way the horse to beat in here, carrying high weight of 124, if that means anything to you. The 3 is Lloyd's Logic. 2 really nice wins in his last 2 starts at Emerald Downs. Huge step up in class here. Can't make the lead against this field. He is cutting back in distance for this. First time for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer. We'll see what he can do here. He has an awful lot to prove. If you found something that you liked about him, he'll be a big price in this race. The 5 is Mixto, a maiden for trainer Doug O'Neill, 0 for 3 to start. I actually thought he showed at least a little potential in his debut. He went off a big price in that race, but just lacked speed, wound up way back off the pace. I thought he looked pretty green getting outrun early in that race, but he made a little bit of run into that thing. He was closest at the finish, just missed 3rd behind Practical Move, was also back in here. I thought that was an okay performance. They threw him in the Del Mar Futurity in his second start. He never got involved that day at 64-1. And his most recent start, a 2-turn mile, again in the same race as Practical Move. They finished very close together once again. Practical Move second, a neck ahead of Mixto. I Kind of think Practical Move ran the better race there, though, and maybe by more than the final margin suggests. But this horse also, he ran fine. Again, he just doesn't have a lot of speed. So he winds up way back off the pace. He was, pretty wide around that final turn there, and he ran on at the end. It never looked like he was going to win. I guess it was an okay performance. It feels like there's something there with this horse. He could get better as time goes on. I think he's pretty hard to like in here, but he might get a fast pace to run out. Who knows? Maybe the Baffert horses will hook up here and set something up for one of the closers. The 6 is Practical Move. Got the maiden win via disqualification in his most recent start. That was the 2-turn mile that Mixto was also in. This horse debuted in the same race as Cave Rock and was no match for Cave Rock, but was clearly second best in that race with an 89 buyer. I mean, that race alone suggests that maybe he's a contender here. Maybe he disappointed a little bit in his second career start. That most recent one, though, the 2-turn mile where he got promoted to first for the maiden win, I thought he ran fine. I don't like the trip that he got at all in that race. He was really, really wide around the first turn, wide around the second turn, again, making a run up the challenge. The horse that wound up getting DQ'd for Bragg drifted over in front of him in the stretch, and he had to steady. I think a lot sort of went wrong with him there, and I like him cutting back in distance for this, too. And, he's got the 89 buyer in his debut that suggests that he can go with these horses. To me, if you were going to take a shot against the Bafferts, I'd probably do it with Practical Move, even though he's never finished first in a race. Newgate is the 7. He's 5-2 on the line. Nice debut from this horse. Just, had enough speed. Hard to figure beat him to the lead, but he had enough speed to keep up, and he just overpowered Hard to Figure in that race to win easily. His next 2 starts in Grade 1 races. The first of those against Cave Rock and the Del Mar Futurity. He just really wasn't any match in that race, but they didn't send him that day. It felt like, they sort of knew who the better Bafferts were in that race, Cave Rock and having a meltdown, so they didn't send this horse. And they just sort of followed Cave Rock around the track, and he just wasn't really good enough. He sort of finished evenly in that race. I don't know. It wasn't a great performance. His most recent start came stretched out in the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland around 2 turns. He's no match for Forte. Got very tired in the stretch of that race. I like him cutting back as well. Another horse cutting back in this race. He's got a good outside post. Johnny Velasquez in to ride. Baffert will take the blinkers off. We'll see if he can take a step forward. I do think he's got to improve to beat his stablemate, but I don't think it's, an impossible task by any stretch of the imagination. So, we'll see if he's going to be able to do it. I'm going to just take, I'm going to chalk this thing out, though. I'm going to take Having a Meltdown. I just think he's the best of the Bafferts, and couldn't really find a really good reason to take any of the alternatives. Practical Move will be my other horse, and I put him second. I went 2, 6, 7, and 5 in the Sunday race of the day. It's all about Bob Baffert in these 2-year-old races in Southern California, and he's got the 3 favorites in the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes. It goes as race number 8 on Sunday at Del Mar. The approximate post time's 7 o'clock Eastern time. Good luck.